Philadelphia Poetry people and Writers House people and University of Pennsylvania people to Rae and Chuck for making the trip. Thank you, guys. This book, which I'm going to say something about in a few minutes, is available. We have a number of copies that are available. We do cash, remember that, and PayPal, I think. So we don't do anything else. We're working on that. But we hope you will buy a copy of the book. And Rae is willing, Oh, she's willing during the reception, more about that in a second, to inscribe your copy and greet you as she's able to. And we have a reception, we pulled out all the stops today, okay? We want you to feel like you're nourished in some way, actually, if not metaphorically. I just want to thank the Morse family, Dan and Miriam. So that would be Michael's parents. Michael, wave your hand. I'm going to introduce you in a second. Dan and Miriam Morse made an endowment gift to the Writers House some years ago, 12 years ago, or 13, in memory of Dan's grandparents, Eva and Leo Sussman. So this is the Eva and Leo Sussman Poetry Fund. You already know what an endowment is, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's like what makes the arts world go round. They decided that this was a priority for us and a priority for them in honor, I think it was Eva, who was a poet, your great-grandmother, I guess, right? An endowment means that the Writers House invests that money, and we draw only 4 or 4.5% every year forever, and we are obliged to do it. It means that there will always be a poetry program in honor of the Sussman's generosity forever and ever. It cannot be broken. It is. I mean, I guess if the house were to be moved by the Wharton School off campus or something, with bulldozers that have Wharton on the side, finally somebody's laughing at that. We'd still have. Thanks, Ron. We would have to have a program. So, and we're just so pleased that Michael is here as well. I guess you're going to convey this to your parents. So we're going to applaud you, and you will, you have a phone? Take a video of this crowd thanking your parents. Seriously, how many people do you know who are endowing poetry? Okay, all right. Are you ready? Let's everybody applaud on 3. Thank you. Stephanie Burt once wrote of our special guest today something really insightful, and this is what she said. William Carlos Williams and Emily Dickinson together taught Armantrout how to dismantle and reassemble the forms of stanzaic lyric, how to turn it inside out and backwards, how to embody large questions and apprehensions in the conjunctions of individual words, how to generate productive clashes from arrangements of small groups of phrases. Williams and Dickinson. So we've got a trifecta here at the Writers House because Dickinson is do we have a patron saint? Who is our special friend from the 19th century. And if you come into the foyer, you will see in honor of Paul Kelly, the late Paul Kelly, whom we lost during the pandemic, who is really the person who made all this possible. We have a plaque that quotes I dwell in possibility, and the line is, for occupation, this. And this is one of Rae's favorite words, and also somewhat of William Carlos Williams' favorite words, but Dickinson and Williams are both the kind of patron saints of this place. Williams for reasons that, I could elaborate, but I won't. But so Williams, Dickinson, and Rae Armantrout. Rae Armantrout's in there, and I'll have something to say about that in a minute. So no wonder we love you and your poetry and admire you, because you're part of that firmament of people who feel a certain way about words. In October of 2000, Bob Perlman and I, mostly Bob, but I too, organized, and there was a conference going on here, and a lot of the poets that we admired were here for this conference. We organized 3 nights, 3 poets each, called it 9 Poets. 9 poets read themselves through a modernist or modernism. And so we asked each of these poets to pick a modernist and then read their own work in relation to that modernist. Pretty cool. And it's on Penn Sound. It's everywhere. And it's really something you should take a look at. All right, so we're going to have a little guessing game right now, okay? Right? We've been doing guessing games all day. All right, so Lynn Haginian, the late Lynn Haginian, was here. Guess which modernist she chose to read herself through? Stein. Do we have prizes? That was... Okay. Ron Silliman was here. You remember, but don't tell them. Okay, Ron read himself through a modernist. Who was that? Williams. Yes, you were here, Daisy, probably? Or that's a good guess. Yes, right. I think actually Ron's story is he found Spring and All on the bookshelf. Desert Music. I'm sorry. It's an important story, but you should hear it over the reception rather than now. Jenna Osman was here, from our friend from Temple University. Anybody want to guess? Modernism Plus. Come on, guys. This is good. Okay. An objectivist. No. Charles Resnikoff. Joan Rotalick was here. What did Joan, do you remember this, Ray? Joan Rotalick. Okay, Joan Rotalick came in. Of course, typical of Joan, there was no way she was going to choose one. Of course, that doesn't work for Joan. So Cage was one. Stein was another. I said, you can't do the same as, that's right. Joan gets her way. And Wittgenstein. That was cool. Erica Hunt came, and Sam Beckett and James Baldwin, and Rae Armantrout. Who was it? Emily Dickinson. And she began a very, very, very memorable reading herself through Dickinson. So she picked Dickinsonian poems of her own, and she has her little introduction, her own introduction to her relationship with Dickinson, which began, and I quote, "Well, I know that I have a sticky wicket here with Dickinson." So I felt like I was already sticky in the wicket just hearing that one line. Let's all say that together. Ready? Well, because we are in a sticky wicket, all of us, not with Dickinson. So you need to have this phrase at the tip of your tongue, okay? And I'll say the line again, then we're all going to say it together. Well, I know that I have a sticky wicket here with Dickinson, okay? On the count of three. What? Is this silly? On the count of three, 1, 2, 3. Well, I know. And you all do. Rae has been with us many times over the years. This is a new book, go figure. This morning I got up, having gone to sleep at 1, I got up at 5, and I was thinking about the debt economy. I know I was doing some chess moves a little further down the game than just feeling like, fuck. So I was thinking about the debt economy, because that's the thing. And then I opened this book, and there's a poem called Debt Economy, and here are a few lines from it. And I have to say, it blew me away. I was upset. Here it is. This is Rae on the debt economy. To put it more simply, you've forgotten what you want to say, and the people you wanted to speak to are gone. Their image is an overlay of grieving or grievance. The author of Debt Economy, among other poems in this fabulous book, we are so, so honored and pleased to have her back. I'm going to give her the podium for a poetry reading, but please, once again, put your hands together for the great Rae Armantrout.
Well, thank you for inviting me once again, and thank you all for coming out on, a very discouraging day for most of us. I got up this morning thinking, I can't do this. But then here I am. I'm doing it. And this makes me think that I want to read Debt Economy, which I think that I like that poem, but it wouldn't work well in readings, because I think it's maybe a little complicated or something, but I think I'm going to read it now, so thanks for that. Okay. Oh, wait, I have other poems that I'm going to read to you that are in this bag. I'm going to read about half from the new book. I know it looks like I'm going to read forever, but you know my poems are not that long. And I'm not going to read forever. And then half from new works. So. Here I go. Here I go again was a rock anthem once, crowds on their feet, mouthing the words. There's no way to explain how faultlessly I want to write about how pointless all this is. Nothing I can point to but the gesture itself, the way it comes to seem anachronistic, spectral. Like this ongoing attempt to catalog the world by latching each thing to the last memory it calls up. Nothing recalls the new Cat 6 haboob. But I'm hard to discourage. When a branch lays out 5, like an old card trick, identical white orchids, 3-petaled light sails spread, ready to go, each with a small bat face in the middle. I should have said, perhaps before, that a haboob is a huge sandstorm, and that before I moved up to Seattle, when I lived in San Diego, they were reporting them on the news because of droughts, and for the first time there were these huge sandstorms, especially in Arizona, and they were making the news, and I learned that they were called haboobs. So that had to get into a poem. Skid. Sleep is my boyfriend, my mother, my boss. It tells me disjointed stories, news of the night world. I am walking on the fragile bodies of dolls. No, I'm not. It's something else. A sentimental journey through a doomsday scenario. Then we're back with the anger reenactors hired to grease the skids. They're some of the people who gave us Trump, I think, the anger reenactors on Fox, etc. I decided not to read this poem because it seemed too sort of cheerful on a day like this, but here it is, and so I'm reading it anyway. Fractal. If I were made of homunculi, the way a cauliflower head is made of little noggins, would I be gorgeous? Like this green one, a field of rockets, each nippled with hard cones. Well, maybe a field of rockets isn't all that cheerful. This one is definitely not cheerful. Enchanted Forest. The time came when the flags flown over Enchanted Forest and Camperland could never be raised above half-mast because mass murder followed mass murder so rapidly. How is it that one bar of music can follow another longingly and languidly in this adagio often played at funerals? Scooting 2 chairs forward, you played Traffic Jam and beeped. The thrill of pretending is not in pretending that you have improved things. Which kind of irony is this? Enchanted Forest is a pasteboard theme park carved out of the forest. Well, this one might be a little more cheerful. I don't know. Conversations. Push on it again. That point of light. What do you think light is? What is anything? If you aren't telling kids how to live in a world you can't imagine, what are you doing? Telling God about fall's claret-colored leaves? Touch me like you do the foliage. Okay, here's the title poem, Go Figure. First, she made up the schedule and the rules, then the desire to break them, or worse yet, the yin to follow them. You put your left foot out, you pull your left foot in. You do it all again and laugh. What next? Go figure, she said. Line up your letters and shake them all about. Play C-A-T, then T-A-G. Someone will play dead. Side by side, the cutthroat competitive performance of one song. That's life, I thought, off its rocker. For my bewilderment, I was given identical twin children to love. Post-its. Okay. Zing. A set of instructions for making instructions. That's a virus. Pure, unencumbered value. Money making money in a host's cells. So streamlined, it's redundant. But what good is a metaphor weighed down with obscure reference when what's wanted is the zing of unimpeded transmission? Oh, and here comes dead economy. Okay, dead economy. Say the connectivity and continuity of space owes its existence to quantum mechanical entanglement. It follows that existence is a debt. So entanglement depends on the record of a previous transaction being accessed, which grows increasingly difficult as the noise level rises and scenes begin to merge, such that a daughter is a mother disappearing beyond the cosmic horizon. To put it more simply, you've forgotten what you want to say, and the people you wanted to speak to are gone, their images an overlay of grieving and grievance. Preparedness. Animals find us eerie. We can see what's coming in broad strokes, washed out, frequently displaced. Still, it smites us. Like ghosts, we pass back and forth between times, stunned, unable to feel what we touch. We believe in abstractions. That's one way to explain our failure to prepare. Picture this. Particles, whether long or short-lived, arise from a permanent traveling disturbance in a quantum field. But we all know that when a disturbance is permanent, it no longer disturbs. Picture a tent city. One way to think about it is as a kind of tension rippling through space. We know how tension distributes itself in a body, now behind the eyelids, now in the shoulders, how it can be moved but not removed, so that when we suck on our knuckles, our neck muscles can relax briefly. Why so tense, we might wonder? Did God yell, "Hey," just once, as if testing the acoustics? Fire. Even the warm cement sidewalks where I played jacks in my memory made of this. Backfire, burnout, zombie fire, past, present, future tense. We are apprentices, they sing, one pushing the laundry basket, the other inside it, still waving. A zombie fire is an actual thing that, firefighters have that in their catalog. Okay, this I wrote after reading The Order of Time by Carlo Rovelli, so it's dedicated to him. It has some quotes from him in it. So, anyway, heat cannot pass from a cold body to a hot one. That's it. That's the one law of physics that distinguishes the past from the future, with its clutter of burnout. When what matters is who's wearing the kitty tail right now. Who thinks she knows where meaning is? Just wait. Times are legion, a different one for every point in space, no matter how close, how lonesome. Angel. When I was almost a woman, the men in the radio called someone I thought might be me an angel and a baby. I wasn't offended. What did I know? I knew I would have to empty myself to fit inside the songs, and I wanted to be in them as long as they lived, to be called to and never come, to be full of my lighter and lighter self, with literally no place to go, as it is in heaven. And lastly, from the book, Waves. To know a thing is to know what it's made of. A nest made of ants hanging by one another's legs. To know a thing is to know how to make it. We hope to learn how to make the world. To make something, you must know where it began. With the shifting hierarchies of stuffed animals, with the sea, a set of jumbled sentences, each ending in shh. Okay, now I'm going to read. I have a manuscript that's finished and is going to come out from Wesleyan in I don't know how long, and then I have a manuscript I'm working on. So this first manuscript, which has been accepted, is called Safe Rooms. Finally, not afterglow, not the last word, still, they were able to more or less enjoy the feeling of being washed up together on what was not really a floodplain, from which the not quite water had receded, leaving a large number of more or less interesting artifacts, which they had learned appeared to them differently, so that what she saw as a large wooden radio, he saw as a fireplace mantel, and what she saw as self-sufficiency, he saw as strangulation. In past times, they had fought bitterly about what things were, what they should or should not be. Now they tried to guess what the other would call any object they spotted. They had come to find failure hilarious and even faked it on some occasions. Just because Chuck is here, just to clear up, nobody's strangling anyone, actually. I know that's a kink that's popular, but no. Okay. Specimens. When I was a child, my grandmother, Rachel, lived in a small room next to mine. She wore what were called housecoats and put her hair up in pin curls. She raised roses. She enjoyed watching pro wrestlers on television. Her favorite was Gorgeous George. And she loved the piano player Liberace. I remember the rhinestones on his cape. She spoke very little. I assumed Rachel must be typical of something. Listen, the God who made you cannot know anything about you. It can't become distracted. It has to keep producing orchids with monkey faces, caterpillars with pink feathers, and the one who floats on her own reflection. Oops. When Mark Bolan sang, "You're slim and you're weak, you got the teeth of the hydra upon you," he didn't know he meant my sucked dry rag of a body, needled for the IV. To say or do what you don't think you mean is scary and embarrassing, but you have to put it in perspective. You have to wonder how intention differs from momentum anyway. Which one came first? I think you're taking momentum too personally. I bet you say oops when a bird swoops by. Choices. That Nature Valley bars are baked by migrant kids on night shifts in Grand Rapids, for instance, is perfectly awful. As are birds raining down, dead from heat exhaustion, dead from avian flu. Not that it's a contest, but if you had to choose. Mind a wraith, body a deflated doll. Or was it the other way around? There's nothing so perfect as the perfect substitute. Hell, this is one I picked especially for today. Hell. In the first place, the idea was to gauge how far or near certain hot spots on my closed eyelids were from one another, and from... Should I wait for that to go away? What is that? Okay. Back to hell. Hell. In the first place, the idea was to gauge how far or near certain hot spots on my closed eyelids were from one another and from me. To put them in perspective, some part of me is still dealing with this, but now edgy and cerebral have been added to my favorites, along with hilarious and heartbreaking. The new job is to hitch opposites to a central pivot. Everyone is going to hell around here. And this one is, I suppose, a little more uplifting as it goes along, not in the beginning, but portion. Having eaten what remains of space, black holes will eat each other, some say. Time will last until just one remains, gasping for more when there is no more. That is none of your business. To start is everything. You start over and push upwards. Open eyes like glacial lakes, black pinholes in the center. You're passionate about proportion. Okay. That was kind of for my granddaughters. Gist. I grew up in the particle-board suburbs. One house like the next, an egg in a styrofoam carton. So I like to get right down to it, to the smallest unit of noise-canceling hum and be done with it. But not yet. I am first an area of focus, a point of attachment. But I am also a way of arranging material, one that can't be replicated. I have extensive knowledge of people who don't exist. My mother, who for decades dyed her hair an impossible shade of red, and who had, facing the door, a popular painting of wild horses. Can I have the burgundy leaves of this old November pear tree coolly twinkling forever instead? Okay. Stuck. One itches to split in two, then to swallow whatever is nearest. There is only one now, one says. There is only now, but there is also rhythm. rhythm that clusters and scatters as the poplar leaves turn their backs to me like a school of mackerel swerving flashes silver. Dear one, there is no time but the present with this sentence stuck in it, written word by word. This is the last one I'll read from that book. The Horizon. Originally, plants and animals turned into people. And people could turn into animals or plants when pressed, so there were always more of them. As you've heard, a European girl became a tree when hounded by the god of poetry. And in the north, a fox slipped into the tent of a man she loved. When he came back to find a strange woman cleaning up, he complained about her musky smell. She threw on her fox pelt, left, and has not been seen since. The similes we see everywhere today are faint echoes of such transformations. Still, the horizon will change into a mirage again and again. Okay. So this seems like too many to read, but this is from my new manuscript that I'm working on. Title to be determined. Inner. Our universe is tattooed on the inner lip of a black hole's event horizon, and a columbine jerks stiffly in the wind. It doesn't mind, or has no mind. It lives to be read by insects. This child is merry and lonely. She twinkles knowingly at no one, like a revolving door or star. In one view, she is being stretched out. In another, she's traveling in and in. This one also has something to do with kids and other things. Real. We show her Disney films and read her fairy tales. When she asks if magic's real, we say no. Not the kindly teapot with the elephant trunk spout or the squeezable keychain globe. Yet, tales grow new heads, which are somehow able to recall where shocks were delivered once upon a time, before the bodies were severed. No, men don't fly. Snakes won't grow from women's heads, no matter what is done to them. There are no kings in the dead world. Yeah, they can't come to my reading. No. Well, this one's a little nicer. It also chase. What suggests itself as shape? Down, up, down, down, up. The twin who likes to differ, and the one who wants to mirror her sister in their slow motion chase. As if to perform notes in reverse order was to go backwards, while time proceeded on course in incremental jolts like water falling downstairs. Oops. But we can put our heads together, straining to see constellations, even if Orion's belt is all we can make out. Which? I am shrinking, I shrieked, meaning aging, nearing death, because I thought that to pretend I was the witch in The Wizard of Oz was funny, and would thus communicate something, if not exactly my feelings. Cousin Rust, with your look of blood and sunset, I am almost in love with the lace you've made of metal. Then you writers here, have you ever looked up your books on Amazon to see their ranking? I did that. It was hilarious. Sources. I rank 193rd in death, grief, and loss today. Not bad. and third degree in the mystique of rhizomatic cloning. Infinity has its star-struck fans, as does precision. 125 plastic horses were removed from a man's rectum, sources say. That's precise. Oh, well, somebody's tired of it. Incidentally, an incident is a hole at the center of a ripple moving outward at the speed of sound. Minor, concomitant. Context is meant to circumscribe response. Guaranteed hallucination-free, says the dealer, circa 2024. A word slips in and out of context like a maraschino dripping red dye in bar light. On haunting. Meaning haunts words as the future haunts the present. Analogies are useful for scaring spirits off. The young laugh wildly at the mention of the previous. When I think you're on the couch and I hear you in the kitchen, I'm alarmed by your presence and your absence at once. All right, I'm going to skip this one because I feel like I've been going on forever. This always happens to me. Okay. This I wrote because I've been on airplanes so much, I think. Screens. Several men in feathered hats scuffle in a pub. The roar of the engines stills us. An ambulance careens through the street, shooting snaky lasers at a weaving car driven by a ghost who thrusts her head out the window and wails. By most accounts, the dead hate the living. The living love the dead unless they appear. A gnome-like old man walks down the aisle, picking up trash, head swiveling. When he comes close, I see the wings on his lapel. Shackleton's ship is stuck in ice. Okay, two more. Skill sets. In the first cartoons, the mutability of forms was a laugh riot. Bouncing biceps, one foot growing huge to stomp a cricket and staying that way. The eye's first finger. It's one thing to rate pains on a number scale, another to judge them qualitatively, aching, stinging, or burning. Only we can do this, no matter how many feedback loops they put into the machines. Be specific. Include kinks and ticks. A good twinge in the roots when the brush is pulled hard through time's tangled mess. Here's the catch. You can't know you're in a costume and also be serious. Sequence. Streets paved with joy wanes, if not augmented. Grief persists. As if God multiplied by dividing. Hundreds of blue slivers with eyes flinch and dart in the oceans. We puke rainbows and anthropomorphize oranges, the cartoon girl in the Skittles ad sings, as if she knew our desperation. Flower seizure, which word best completes this sequence? To put a fine point on niggling sense, these concussive rings are pink. And I think I'm going to read one more really short, maybe really short, just because of the day it is, maybe. The grind. I grind my teeth at night like I can't quit talking, or like a termite chews through wood. Each thing I eat to change the taste in my mouth.
Rae Armantrout. Rae Armantrout. Thank you, Rae. That was fantastic. This is the thing the Writers' House does really, really well, which is for us to hang around. We have a really great reception for you. We have copies of Rae's new book. Please buy a copy. I'm sure she's willing to inscribe it, and let's give her a chance to join us at the reception. So she's very eager to meet you, and you are, I hope, eager to meet each other. So hang out, stay as long as you like. Yeah? Agreed? Let's do it? Okay, good. One more time, let's thank Rae Armantrout.